Hi everyone. I have to first start off by saying I can't even believe that I'm doing this. This has been something I've wanted to do for a while now, and I've procrastinated because I did not know what to talk about or what people would be interested in. So I was just taking my time and putting it off. And then today I was like, you know what? There's nothing to it but to do it. So let's just do a raw, uncut, rough draft, send it out there, get some feedback, and go from there. I wanted to do this first one as raw and uncut as I could, so that way, over time, when I get more professional and add things in and become a pro, I can look back on this one and see how far I've come. I came up with the idea of doing a vlog. A blog was not an option for me because I very rarely will sit down and write things out. I will backspace, erase because I feel like it's not good enough and it just causes a whole bunch of mess. So if I do a video and just record it and put it out there, there's no turning back. The purpose that I wanted to do this for is several reasons, but I wanted to most importantly have some trials and tribulations and events of my life documented. For those of you who know me, you know that my life is a roller coaster, especially in the health field between myself and Kai. I wanted to kind of be a support system for people who may be going through some of the things that I've gone through or currently going through. Also wanted to just give a little insight of my life because you may see posts and pictures on Facebook, and of course everyone can make things look great on Facebook when in reality you have no idea what they're going through. I know some people may feel like I overshare, but it is something I want to do not because I want to put my business out there, but because you never know who may be going through it or who may go through it in the future and who can use that. I have had several people reach out to me based on certain things that I post to get a better understanding or get advice, or they're going through it and have some questions about it. I also want to have something that I can look back on later on. And if I document these things, I can go back and reminisce. I can maybe go back and motivate myself and also give my girls something to look back on, especially if, you know, with their young age, they may not remember these things, but they can always go back to these videos and see some of the things that I've gone through. So I wanted to start off mainly with just giving you a little background on the things that I'm going through health-wise. From day one birth, I have been very complicated with my health. My mom had me 3 days past her due date. Her due date was May 11th, but on May 14th, she was admitted to the hospital with high blood pressure. After being there for a little while, still in that same day, they had to give her emergency C-section because she was sitting there just talking and she heard monitors start beeping and everybody ran in and she's like, what's going on? And they were like, your baby's in distress, we have to take her down. Reason being because I was so big that, and my mom was so small, I didn't have any more room to grow, so I went into distress and I came out a healthy 8 pounds, 9 ounce baby girl. Growing up, I've had some of everything. I had strep throat very often. I had the flu, colds, scarlet fever. I had tonsillitis. I've had mononucleosis. I've had severe nosebleeds and had to have my nose cauterized. A little bit later in adulthood, so many things to even remember, but I can tell you currently I see about 6 healthcare specialists. I have, my primary doctor, I have my OBGYN, I have my cardiologist because I have a heart condition called supraventricular tachycardia, SVT for short. I've had 2 heart operations known as cardiac ablations because I have an abnormal heartbeat that sometimes just speeds up for no reason, and I could just be sitting here and then suddenly become out of breath. The surgeries were unsuccessful, so I am basically on a beta blocker prescription for the rest of my life that controls my irregular heartbeat. I also see a gastroenterologist because about 2 years ago I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease as well as irritable bowel syndrome. I also have acid reflux, which is known as, technical term is GERD. I'm on 2 medications from the gastroenterologist. I am also seeing a psychiatrist because I was diagnosed about 5-6 years ago with major depressive disorder and anxiety. I have not been on medication that entire time, but I am currently on 2 antidepressants that I take in the morning for that. They are Zoloft and Wellbutrin. I also am about to start seeing a rheumatologist because I have developed arthritis in my thumb. I also just saw a podiatrist last week because I have a very bad bunion on my left foot, and he took x-rays and the x-ray looked a lot worse than I thought, and he's like, yeah, we gotta go fix that. So a few months down the line I plan to have that surgery, but it is major surgery. I will probably be out of work about 1 to 2 weeks. No weight bearing on my foot. I will get stitches out around the 2nd week, but still no weight bearing for about 2 to 3 more weeks. And then at that point, possibly get into a walking boot that will be about 3 to 4 weeks. So turnaround time before that it will take me to get back in a regular shoe will be about 2 months. But just because I'm back in a regular shoe does not mean I won't be in any pain. There still won't be swelling, and that it still won't be an adjustment. Outside of that, what made me decide today to start was because I also have a hematologist. I have been anemic, like borderline anemic all my life. I am always cold. But in January when I went to my PCP, my lab work showed it was severe anemia, and we could not figure out why. So he sent me to a hematologist, did some labs, and he determined that because of the inflammation from my Crohn's disease, that is what is causing my hemoglobin to drop. So basically, for those of you who don't know about Crohn's disease, it is inflammation that occurs anywhere in your GI tract from your mouth all the way down to your anus. And it is very painful at times when you have flare-ups, and at times it is uncontrollable bowels. So there have been times where I've been at work and I have to say, I'll be right back, and run to the bathroom. There have been times I've woken out of my sleep. There have been times when I'm out driving. It is not the prettiest thing, but with doing that and you are releasing so many of your nutrients, if you're not replacing those nutrients that you're losing, you are going to be deficient, which is what is happening with my iron. So today we came up with a plan for me to do. Today we came up with a plan that I will be doing some infusion type injections of a medication called Injectafer. It is just a series of 2 infusions. I will probably do the first one next Friday. It should take a few minutes, and then I will do the second one the following Friday, and that should help replace the iron that I'm deficient in. And once I have a follow-up and repeat labs, if all is well, I will be discharged from the hematologist. So that is a lot for one person. I am 31 years old, and if I had $1 for every time one of my doctors said, "Geesh, like, you are only 31," and I'm like, I know, I cannot control this. You're the doctor, fix it, and you won't have to say this, but you say it every single time. In addition to that, thankfully, Sinai has been fairly simple with health issues. She has like lactose intolerant and eczema, which are, easy things to manage, but except for the fact that she loves dairy. So she rather suffer the consequences. Now, Kai, on the other hand, Kai from birth has been just like me. She has had hand, foot, and mouth disease twice, which I didn't even know what that was, but it is horrible. She's had Fifth's disease, which I'm like, what the heck is that? They also call it slap cheek disease, where your cheeks get really red and really hard, and it's a virus. She has had strep throat, tonsillitis, viruses, flu, and then as of lately, again, as most of you know from my Facebook posts, she in November, the week of Thanksgiving, she was urinating blood, took her to the emergency room, and they were actually about to release us because they couldn't find anything, but they did an ultrasound of her bladder, thankfully, and saw a polyp, also known as a tumor, in her bladder. So they were like, we can't let you go. We have to admit you, and she needs emergency surgery tomorrow. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I panicked. I probably cried maybe 5 times, and she still to this day has not cried. Next day we did the surgery, they removed the tumor, and about a week later we found out at her post-op that it did return. The pathology was cancerous and it was malignant, but thankfully the urologist surgeon was able to remove all of it. So at the same time we found out she had cancer, we also found out that she was in remission. And I definitely thank God for that, because not many people are able to find out they have cancer and get a remission diagnosis at the same time. She did not need any additional treatment as far as chemo, radiation, none of it. But the tumor that she had was so rare that her oncologist that we went to said he had never had a patient that had that type of tumor. So it was all brand new to him, which can be scary, but he reassured us that he was consulting with his partners, consulting with rare tumor oncologists out of state. He was going to do everything that he could to ensure that she had the best treatment. He did want to err on the side of caution and see her once a month for a year. And he said sometimes it's just going to be a high and by, but he was like, again, I'd rather be safe. But they did say they wanted to repeat the surgery in 3 months, which we are going to do the end of March. Just to say they want to go back in and just make sure that there are no new tumors growing and that everything is fine. And even though surgery for your 6-year-old can be very scared and traumatic, I cannot be mad at these doctors wanting to go above and beyond to make sure that everything is okay. She did come home from the hospital after surgery for about a week with a catheter. Other than just not being able to do her flips and cartwheels and handstands, she actually was a trooper. So I definitely thank God for that. But in summary, I just wanted to give a quick overview of some of the things that I've been going through. I think now I am going to maybe break down each issue, and my following vlogs will be each going into detail about a particular illness or disease that I have. If you have any suggestions on what you want me to cover first, or you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me. I definitely want to be a resource, because there were times where either someone else was a resource to me or there was no one to be a resource to me. So I want to be what I wanted someone to be for me. That in no way is a diss at anybody, because everybody doesn't understand a lot of these things unless you go through them, especially with like depression and anxiety. Mental illness is real. Please don't dismiss it. It is just like any other disease, except you can't see it, but it is real. So I thank you for watching. Again, if you have any questions for me, but I will break down some of those illnesses. All of my vlogs, I don't intend for them to be serious. I do want to add some fun, some laughter, you know, add some people in there, whether it's my kids, it's my significant other, my family, my friends. If you have any recommendations on things that you want to hear or you want me to talk about, again, feel free to let me know. But thank you so much for watching. Keep myself and my family in your prayers, especially Kai. And I look forward to talking with you guys again later. See ya.